If you're using ChatGPT like everyone else, you're literally missing out on 99% of what OpenAI can actually do for your business. So here's the thing that no one's telling you about OpenAI and ChatGPT. It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's this whole ecosystem of tools that people don't even know exists. And when you combine them together properly, it's like having an entire AI-powered business team behind you without needing to hire anyone. Most people are just asking ChatGPT basic questions and wondering why they're not getting game-changing results. But what if I told you about deep research that can analyze entire industries in minutes, custom GPTs that think exactly like you, projects that remember everything about your business? Look, I've been using AI in my business for a couple of years now, and I've seen people waste so much potential by only scratching the surface with what these tools can actually do. But here's the thing that completely changed my approach. OpenAI isn't just ChatGPT. It's an entire business intelligence system that can research, analyze, create, and think at levels that most people will never be able to understand or comprehend. I'm talking about deep research that can analyze your entire market and give you insights that would basically take a team of researchers and developers weeks to compile together. Custom GPTs that are trained on specific outputs to think exactly like you to be your best employee. Projects that store everything about your brand and generate content that sounds similar to you and creates incredible ideas. I'm not talking about basic prompts here. I'm talking about advanced prompt engineering that turns OpenAI into this incredibly sophisticated business partner that knows your industry and your business inside out. When you understand how to create GOAT prompts properly and engineer GOAT prompts properly, when you set up your projects correctly, you then create custom GPTs that are tailored to your exact needs. It's like having access to business intelligence that was never possible before. Well, it's not like that. It's exactly like that. What I'm about to show you is the complete OpenAI system that I used to run my business, and by the end of this, you're going to understand why most people are using AI 0.1% of what OpenAI can actually do. Right, so first things first, we're going to get to the basics on this one, and we'll get more complex down the line, so I'm only going to show you a taste, right? ChatGPT, right, is an ecosystem. Because here's what people don't realize. The real power isn't asking it random questions. It's using deep research to get insights that will cost thousands with different teams. And when you can comprehensively review and have that access to that data, when you see the level of analysis that you can provide, you're going to wonder why you tried to research your market manually, and it will change how you've done everything in your business until today. So let me show you exactly what I mean. Right guys, so let's look at some basic level and introductory level functionality to GPT-5 and OpenAI. So this is going to be a video covering prompt engineering, covering different instruction manuals that you can create, covering deep research, how to create custom GPTs. But as an initial starting point, I'm just going to show you the deep research functionality. So when you click onto that button there, you've got these different areas. So you've got loads of different ones, but what we're going to look at here is basically the deep research. So what you can basically do with this functionality is get a detailed report on pretty much everything. But all I'm going to do as an example is I'm just going to look at hacking into Amazon, right? So let's just say, for example, you've got a competitor, or you're looking at building a website, or you're looking at some deep research on people's products. Like I would show you some of the stuff I do, but obviously it's a non-disclosure that I'm sharing what I do for clients and how we can hack into other people's businesses and information there. But if I inputted the Amazon website, for example, and then gave a prompt, and I could actually just go onto OpenAI and create a prompt for this in a minute, which I will show you. But if I'm just going to type one out, it might just be a case of, can you give me an overview to the functionality and structure to the Amazon website for me to be able to create something similar, extract the pathways, the copywriting, the sections, the structure, and give me a detailed overview of their operation, right? So when you do deep research, it does take a little bit of time. So I'm not going to sit here for 5 minutes until it's done. But what this will basically do is it'll ask some questions on what we're going to be looking at. So are you looking to replicate something? Should I focus on desktop, mobile, or both? So in this situation, I'm just going to put all of it, right? Because I want as much information on that website as humanly possible. So this is basically now going to go into a deep research element, and then what you'll basically find, and towards the back end of this YouTube, I'll show the output that's given me, but that will have a deep research on every single bit of nut and cranny associated with information on the Amazon website as a starting point. So deep research is something that I love and I use quite commonly for myself and with clients. So that's deep research, and it's just the beginning. Like I said, this video is a soft introduction to OpenAI because it's so complex. Because once you understand that the research capabilities, right, and you've got that type of information, the next step is learning how to create a GOAT prompt, and it gets you exactly what you need every single time. And this is where most people completely mess up, and they don't even use ChatGPT for this. They're using basic prompts and getting basic results. But when you understand proper prompt engineering and using OpenAI for that, and you know how to structure prompts with your brand identity, your voice, your exact requirements, that's when OpenAI becomes this incredibly powerful business tool that you can use across multiple different modalities and systems. So here's exactly how to look at GOAT prompt engineering and instruction engineering. One other area that I love about GPT-5 is the ability to generate custom GOAT prompts and instruction manuals. So rather than having to basically type something out, you can basically lean into ChatGPT to give you the actual GOAT prompt. So on this one, I've said I'm looking to build a 30-day social media strategy around my offer, something that I can use inside Claude, using my project knowledge and instructions, so the writing output sounds exactly like me. I have maximum and also have maximum impacts. Don't worry about spelling stuff perfectly all the time. And I want to have maximum impact on 30 days to generate more leads, sales, and followers. So when you basically ask that and ask it to generate you a GOAT prompt, it will then give you out a full 30-day social media strategy prompt. So this is going to go into a level of detail on a prompt engineering that we're not going to do because it takes too much time. So all I then need to do from that point is I will kind of come through onto that, copy that prompt. I'd then go onto my Claude, which is trained on my instructions and project knowledge and everything else. I'll input that into there. Then all I do is I basically say using project knowledge and instructions. So then that means that a full 30-day social media strategy done at serious high level, and also all the scripts and captions is all going to be done and written out in my language style as well. So GOAT prompt engineering is really, really effective inside GPT-5. So now let's just say that we're looking to create an instruction manual. So this is going to basically show you how to basically build something. So let's just say I am looking to build an offer around my target niche, which includes a 12-month framework of courses, resources, tasks, and assessments. Can you provide me with an instruction manual on how to do this to generate all the outputs inside Claude so it sounds like me? So I use instruction manuals across pretty much all different AI platforms. So I'm going to show you a couple different ones here. So this is basically going to be coming out with a GOAT prompt, but it's also going to be done on an instruction manual. So this is going to go into quite a lot more detail. So it's going to break down all of the different areas, all of the different structures, and everything that we obviously kind of need. So when you got instruction manuals on GPT-5, like the functionality is absolutely ridiculous, guys. So I use this on pretty much everything. So I'll use instruction manuals to generate. So let's just say that now, can you give me an instruction manual for Claude project instructions for this? Right, so that is basically just me getting an instruction manual that I can then insert into the instructions up at the top there. So rather than to manually type it all out, it'll just do it all for me straight away. So this is going to then not only train the actual project and the instructions, but also make sure that it's done at serious high level. So again, instruction engineering is really, really important. I also use instruction engineering across multiple different platforms. So if I went onto my Chatling, which is my Hawk bot, which is trained on pretty much absolutely every single bit of transcript that I've ever done. So if we went to AI configuration and knowledge base, as you'll basically see inside here, and I'll do another video on this soon, this is trained on every single transcript that I've ever created for a video. So that means that it's going to probably know more than me and remember more than me. But if I went back onto Builder and I went back onto AI configuration, I've then got instructions here. So as you'll basically see here, this is an instruction manual on what basically how it uses that information. So all I did is I went onto GPT-5 and described what type of instruction manual I was wanting for what platform, gave me the output, stick that into there, and then that's now an AI chatbot which is trained on everything that I have ever done within my business to give to clients, to help them with navigation, to help them with quick questions, to help them when I'm out of office or my team's out of office, or even my own team use this for looking at checking over information and stuff as well. So I'll be coming on to Chatling on other videos down the line, but overall instruction manuals and prompt engineering is absolutely ridiculous inside OpenAI. So did you see there? Just look at the level of specificity and how useful those outputs were. That's the difference between a basic prompt and a proper instruction engineered. But here's where it gets really, really powerful. Because once you've got your prompts dialed in, you can then set up projects to remember everything about your business and generate consistent results every single time. And as I've said on previous videos, I use Claude for all my writing outputs, but I'm not talking about just storing random information. I'm talking about creating an AI system that knows your brand identity, your methodology, your SOPs, your organizational structure, your operations, and basically have this accessible for both you and your teams at all times. So let me show you exactly what I mean with a quick introduction to how projects are set up and how you can train them. What you've got to remember is that you've got basically very similar functionality with Claude. So if I went onto my overview on here, you'll basically see that I've got multiple different projects across God knows how many different areas, which just does it all for me now. And you have the same functionality when it comes to OpenAI. So when you click onto new project there, you've basically got the ability, so I'll put social media, right? And I'll create a new project and it has the exact same functionality, right? And this is the same kind of consensus across the board. So you've got the ability to add files, you've got the ability to add instructions and everything else, right? So what I use OpenAI for mostly is like ideation. Remember, Claude will be any other platform every day of the week, all year long when it comes to writing outputs from your personal brand, which is why I predominantly use that for all writing areas. But OpenAI is also brilliant for looking at ideation. So I have different projects set up for people where they've got custom GPTs, which are set up where they can basically extract social media trends as an automation, what comes through onto a chat every Monday morning on their niche and on their offer. I have GPTs, which are looking at basically extracting sales call transcripts and everything else. But you can also use this openly. So like your project setup is going to be dependent on what you are doing in your business. So if it's something to do with writing, I would recommend that you use Claude. If it's another area within your business, then I potentially look at using OpenAI. But again, this really depends on the functionality that you've got to your platform. But the same process applies, right? So this is just a project where you've got all of the same type of information. So deep research, images, agent mode, adding photos and files. And you can also add more information and stuff there as well, where you can add it into it and give it as much context as possible. So very, 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 very similar process. So I've got like an open use one here. So this is basically where I have all of my information submitted into it, because I predominantly use other platforms. But I will show you how to create a custom GPT in a second. And then all you do is use GPT-5 to actually generate your instructions and generate everything that you need. So keep posted for that one in a second. But project setup is very, very similar to everything else that you are doing. But I would highly, highly, highly recommend always use Claude for your writing outputs. And that is how you basically turn OpenAI from a basic question answering tool into a complete business intelligence system. But there's one more piece to this puzzle that makes this absolutely ridiculous. This is where you can create custom GPTs that are specifically designed for your exact business needs. These aren't general or generic chatbots. These are basically specialized AI assistants that can understand your industry, your processes, your challenge, and provide you with solutions and analytics and output specifically tailored to you. And this is the final piece that turns OpenAI ecosystem just from a general useful tool into something that will completely change the game for you. And as you'll see in this video in a second, it's about how open-minded and creative you are with how you can set up these custom GPTs. Finally, with the introduction to OpenAI, you've basically got GPTs here. So when you click onto that, you're going to have all of these different areas, right? I personally don't use these because I just prefer to just do it myself from scratch. But when you go through there, guys, like there are endless preset different custom GPTs that you can walk through. But for me, like they are quite open, and sometimes they're a little bit more too generic, you could say, compared to being specific for your business. But as you'll basically see, like there is endless different custom GPTs that you can build, right? But what I personally do is I just click on to create new, and I'll just basically look at creating my own GPT file. So I'll use just one example that I created just quickly for this video, but you've basically got sales call transcripts there. So when I click onto sales call transcripts and then I go up to the top and I go onto edit, what I've basically done with this is a custom GPT is I've basically used ChatGPT to create a custom GPT, which runs a sales call assessment on all of Alex Moses, Andy Elliott's, Cole Gordon's, Dan Locke, Stock and Jeremy Miner, who are top level, high ticket, one-to-one sales closers, and then ask GPT to give me an instruction manual to input that into that there. And then it's as simple as that is done, right? And this is something that you can share with your team, you can share with sales closers, you can share with multiple different people. So this is obviously just me showing the sales call transcripts, an example. But what this will then basically do is it'll give me an output and an assessment on where I can basically go through and improve everything that I'm obviously kind of doing within that specific sector. So this may be client questions, it may be building out assets, it might be SOPs internally for your own company, it might be content ideas and production. So I've set a few up for people where they're looking at trending content. So I went on ChatGPT and said, can you give me an instruction manual for a custom GPT on creating a automation that comes into a chat at 8 a.m. every morning to look at current social media trends around what that person is working through. So again, when you've got your custom GPTs, it's about how creative that you can be around it. But for me personally, based on how I've done this, like I don't use Write for me because I've tried God knows how many different areas. For me, Claude is just so much better when it comes to writing, so I don't mess about with anything to do with writing on ChatGPT. But you could basically have designing lead magnets, you could be having designing absolutely everything, and basically just be as creative as possible. But for me, I'd probably just recommend creating your own based on what you're doing, and start with one at a time. It might be social media ideas first, then it might be your sales call transcripts and assessments, then it might be looking at building out client asset structures and frameworks. But just start small and then start building and stacking more on top after that. So there you have it. That's exactly how I use AI as a standard introduction. I'm going to go into more detail on further videos. But what you've just seen is an absolute game changer for anyone who's been thinking AI is just about asking general questions. We're talking about research capabilities that rival entire teams, prompt engineering that gets you exactly what you need, projects that will remember everything about your business, custom GPTs that work specifically for your industry and the sector that you've assigned it. But here's the thing, most people are going to watch this and think, oh, well, that's decent, I'm just going to carry on doing the same as what I've just done, right? And go back to just asking ChatGPTs random questions, getting random results, and then complaining about the situation that they've not actually moved forward. But when you're actually serious about leveraging AI properly, and you actually want to understand what's possible and use these tools at the full potential, then you need to understand what I've just shown you is literally the tip of the iceberg with this stuff. I use ChatGPT for open knowledge, for general research. I combine it with Claude, I combine it with Chatling, I combine it with Gamma, and I use maybe 10, 15 different systems, and I'll lean back onto OpenAI for my prompt engineering and instruction engineering and open research and infinite processing, right? And again, I'm going to have another YouTube video going over custom GPTs in a lot more detail. Right? People who understand how to use AI now are going to be 10 steps, 100 steps, 1,000 steps ahead of people who are just sat in the background thinking that this is going to go away. We are in the AI digital revolution now. This is literally not going to change, the same as it happened with the industrial revolution and digital revolution. You need to start understanding how this stuff works now. So if you do want to find out more about how you can use AI in your business to 10x your output and your business results in 90% less time, as you've just seen, without hiring people, without more hours, then hit the link in my bio to find out more information on my program. If you found this video useful, drop in some comments, or if you're not subscribing, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.